Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Kiv, and today I wanted to talk to you all about the development of Halo Infinite. It's been about 7 months since the release of the game, and it's currently stuck in limbo, with 343 trying to patch and fix things while giving us something new to make sure that we don't get bored and just give up, because a lot of us already have. This entire video was made because I found a pretty interesting article, and after reading it, I can't help but feel that it's a bloody miracle we even got a new Halo game. I'll have a link in the description so you can all read it for yourselves, but the people who wrote this article spoke to 343 devs, both past and present, who gave them a bit more insight into what the development of Halo Infinite was like. There are lots of things here that I don't think the Halo community is aware of, so I wanted to share them. As you can see, I'm rocking a Cyberpunk hoodie for two reasons. Number one, they're cheap as chips right now, for obvious reasons. And number two, Cyberpunk is the benchmark of bad management for making a game here. And after going through this article, I feel like Halo Infinite would have been an even bigger dumpster fire than Cyberpunk was if it wasn't delayed. I guess the only thing left to say is, let's go down the rabbit hole and sift through the shitstorm that was the development of Halo Infinite. The article starts with more than 20 current and former 343 employees who describe the company as having flawed internal tools, infighting, and high turnover. So this isn't the opinion of one or two people who got annoyed after being let go. We have people who are still working there describing the company like that. So there is a pattern to it. When Halo Infinite was announced, they made specific mention of the all-new Slipspace engine, which was basically a marketing trick to make it sound like the game was built carefully, brick by brick. A more accurate description is probably that whenever something didn't work, they just cracked out the duct tape and said, "Ah shit, here we go again." I say this because the Slipspace engine was based off the one they used in Halo 5, which was also based off engines from previous Halo games. Some parts of the code used in Halo Infinite date back to Halo Combat Evolved, code that is 20 years old. Because of this, some parts of the engine, a set of tools called Faber, became infamous at the studio for being buggy and difficult to use. Some of you may remember that in the gaming industry, technical debt is when you have a harder job because the previous programmers chose quick and easy solutions over long-term fixes. So this Faber's code had so much technical debt that some 343 engineers referred to it as tech bankruptcy. I have mentioned it in previous videos, but this completely explains why progress is just so slow for Halo Infinite, and new bugs keep popping up. The underlying code is extremely sensitive, and basically it's like a Word document. You move an image 1 centimeter to the left, and suddenly everything catches on fire and nothing works. That's basically Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite's creative direction was also changing until dangerously late in its development. Several developers described 343 as a company split into territories, with every development team fighting for resources and making conflicting decisions. One developer described the process as 4 to 5 games being developed at the same time. This just points out how terrible the upper management is at 343. I hate to play the blame game, but for a company in charge of Halo, that is just disgustingly bad. There isn't anyone putting all the pieces together. The article describes a team with absolutely no leadership. Not only that, but think about the wasted resources. This is the phase that I think just used up the entire budget for the game. Obviously, Halo Infinite had a massive budget. Most estimates are somewhere between $200 to $300 million. But with different teams working in different directions, just think of how much time, money, and effort was wasted. In 2019, 343 was in crisis mode. The studio decided to cut almost 2/3 of the entire planned game, apparently. If that is true, that makes a scary amount of sense, considering the changes that we saw from the initial reveal trailer compared to what we received in the game. Some managers were actually instructing their designers to come into the office and just do nothing, because their team and the company itself wasn't sure of what the next move was going to be. No matter how you look at it, that is a mess. Eventually, the game's open world was cut back into something far smaller, which is what we ended up with on release. The fact that I can't seem to get over is that 2/3 of the game was cut. So if the game was 3 times as big originally, just imagine how much better that could have been. I think this is probably the point in time where we lost different biomes and different environments to play in Halo Infinite. That's probably why we don't have a desert environment or a snowy environment released with the game. We may still see all of this as a DLC, but remember, 343 will probably never admit openly to what's stated in this article, but it does connect the dots and really explain why the game is struggling so much. It literally went through development hell, and not in the Halo 2 kind of way. The fact that it felt like 4 to 5 different games were being made at the same time really bugs me because of the wasted resources and potential. I am not a 343 hater, and if they do something good, then I'm gonna be happy, because at the end of the day, I want what's best for Halo. But I have to say, this is something that I really think points out the flaws with some of the people in charge of Halo. This may even also explain why so many developers left during development and after the release of Infinite. I mean, if you were one of the people who had all of your work cut from the game, you'd be pretty annoyed as well. Having so many features and content cut from the game, I think only time will tell just how much we lost. But I am hopeful that the people left at 343 will be able to slowly get the game into a better state. Sometimes it's important to consider the starting point of the journey. I think that it's a credit to some of the people working at 343 who are doing the right thing to be able to give us a Halo game that has nice gameplay. Reading all of the shocking stuff in this article really helped me appreciate that the game could have been way worse. And I know that isn't really something to celebrate, but at the end of the day, as Halo fans, we may just need to be patient and wait until we get the game that we are truly happy with. And I know we have been basically doing that for the last 10 years or so, with, very few good moments in between. But if you ask me, when Halo is good, it's worth the wait. I would really like to see what kind of content was actually cut from the game and just how expansive it could have been. The article then goes on to mention Joe Staten coming back and helping to get the game on track, so the article ends in a hopeful way, and I dream of the day that Infinite can be what we all want it to be. But that's what I feel, and I think that's probably a good point to wrap it up for this video. So let me know what you all think in the comment section down below, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. It's all part of the great journey, so join me. I've been Kiv, and I'll see you all on the next one.